For 1 second this morning. The world had no claim on you. No alarm. No notification. No name being called. Just silence and a question rising slowly from somewhere deep. What should I do today? Most people panic at that question. Because they've never been taught how to answer it freely. But for 99% of human history, that question wasn't anxiety. It was just how life began. Humans didn't live by clocks. They didn't live by deadlines. They didn't live by someone else's calendar. They lived by sunlight. By hunger. By seasons. For over 300,000 years, there were no jobs. No offices. No performance reviews. No Sunday night dread about Monday morning. Just survival. And here is the part that should disturb you. Survival didn't even take that long. Modern humans spend nearly 90,000 hours of their life working. One full third of your entire existence. Gone. But in 2010, anthropologists at Harvard studied the Hadza people of Tanzania, one of the last hunter-gatherer societies still living the way ancient humans did. What they found broke every assumption we hold about work and time. The Hadza spent only 15 to 20 hours per week on survival. Not 40. Not 60. Not just a few more emails and I'll stop. 15 hours. The rest of the time was not free time in the way we think of it, something you earn after work is done. It was just life. Talking. Resting. Walking without destination. Sitting with people and actually being present. Laughing without needing a reason. Now sit with that comparison for a moment. You may spend more hours working in 2 days than ancient humans spent surviving in an entire week. So why do you feel more exhausted than they ever did? Something in that math is very wrong. To understand what went wrong, scientists didn't just observe behavior. They studied bones. And bones don't lie. Ancient skeletons told a story no one expected. Hunter-gatherers were often healthier than early farmers. Stronger bones. Fewer infections. Better teeth. More balanced physical development. But the moment farming began, everything reversed. More food, but worse nutrition. More stability, but more physical injury from repetitive labor. More control over nature, but far less control over time. And that raises a question history class never asks. Did progress actually improve human life, or did it just reorganize suffering into a more acceptable shape? But the most surprising discovery had nothing to do with health. It wasn't about bones or diet or disease. It was about art. In caves across France, Spain, and South Africa, painted tens of thousands of years ago, archaeologists found horses frozen mid-gallop. Lions caught in the moment of the hunt. Human hands pressed against stone walls like quiet signatures saying, "I was here." These weren't survival tools. They weren't maps or instructions. They were beautiful. Deliberately, carefully beautiful. Someone, perhaps cold, perhaps tired, walked deep into darkness just to create something. That single fact tells you everything. These people weren't just keeping themselves alive. They had mental space. Inner stillness. Time that genuinely belonged to them. Which leads to a question that cuts much closer to home. When was the last time you created something, anything, just because it felt meaningful to you? The turning point had a name. Farming. Around 10,000 years ago, humans stopped following nature and started trying to control it. Land became something you could own. Food became something you could store. And time, for the first time in human history, became something that could be measured, managed, and eventually sold. At first, it looked like pure progress. More food. Larger communities. Safer nights. Longer lives. But something invisible was changing underneath all of it. Time stopped belonging to humans and started belonging to systems. Because when you own land that dies without daily attention, your day is no longer a question. It becomes an order. Wake. Work. Protect. Sleep. Repeat. No variation. No wandering. No stillness. As societies grew, structure tightened. Structure became roles. Roles became duties. Duties became jobs. And jobs became something that had never existed before in the entire history of the human species. Identity. You were no longer just a person living a life. You were a farmer. A merchant. A soldier. A servant. Your worth became measured by your output. And in the industrial age, this system reached its final form, employment. Now your time could be purchased by the hour. Legally removed from your life in exchange for survival. Here is the paradox no one teaches. The more advanced civilization became, the more disconnected people felt from natural life. Early farmers worked longer hours than hunter-gatherers. Lived shorter lives. Carried more chronic pain in their bodies. More civilization. More suffering. So what exactly did we gain? Comfort, yes. But also pressure that never fully lifts. Convenience, yes. But also an exhaustion that follows you even into sleep. Security, yes. But also a schedule you cannot escape even on your days off. Think about how your mornings actually feel. Most people don't wake up asking, "What should I do today?" They wake up already calculating, "What do I have to do today?" 2 words, have to, and everything changes. One question opens a door. The other locks it. One feels like a life being lived. The other feels like a debt that keeps growing no matter how much you pay. Ancient humans spent their evenings in a way that is almost impossible to picture now. Together, not near each other with phones face down, but actually, fully together. Talking for hours. Telling stories. Sitting in silence without discomfort. Laughing without needing anything to be funny. Even their sleep was different. Historian A. Roger Kirch spent decades researching pre-industrial sleep patterns and found that humans likely slept in 2 natural phases, waking in the night not from anxiety, but for quiet reflection, soft conversation, or simple awareness. No alarm pulling them back under. No screens slicing through the dark. Just time moving at a human pace. And maybe that is the thing that still feels missing. Not money. Not success. Not even rest. But time that belongs to you. We didn't just change how we live. We changed how time feels. It feels now like it's always running out. Always being wasted. Always owed to someone else before it reaches you. And even with every advancement, every app, every shortcut, every productivity system designed to save you minutes, something inside still feels unfinished. Still restless. Still quietly asking, is this really what life is supposed to feel like? Maybe the answer isn't to abandon everything and go back to caves. Maybe it's smaller than that. Maybe it starts with one morning, just one, where you wake up slowly, let the silence stay a little longer, and ask yourself that ancient question. What should I do today? And actually listen. Because the real question was never about ancient humans. It was always about you. Did we build a better world? Or just a busier one? If this made you pause even for a second, drop the word time in the comments. No explanation needed. I'll know you felt it. And if you want to keep pulling on this thread, the next video explores why modern humans can't rest even when they finally have the chance. Why stillness has started to feel uncomfortable. Why doing nothing now feels like failure. It's the most important video I've made. Subscribe so you don't miss it. I'll see you there.